Now to tennis, and Laura Robson has advanced into the third round of the Barnstaple Open after beating fellow Brit Heather Watson. We'll be speaking live to Laura very, very shortly indeed. Let's see some of the action from the match first. It's the first time the 17-year-old Robson, 19-year-old Watson had come up against one another at junior or senior level. Robson, who gave Maria Sharapova a scare at Wimbledon earlier this year, seized the early initiative, rattling off 7 games in a row to close out the first set by 6 games to 1. Well, Watson came out stronger in the second set, at times relying on a little bit of luck. No ball boys or ball girls on court. Watson was forced to take on the role herself to fish out that ball behind the scoreboard. Watson went on to serve out the set, send the match into a decider. And winner takes all final sets. Robson raised the game, some thumping ground strokes. An unforced error from Watson ultimately sealed Robson's passage into the next round. And we can speak to Laura now. Laura, many congratulations. It certainly went to plan in the first set. How did you feel you got over that initial hurdle?
I think Heather played really well in the second set and she was more consistent than me, so in the third set I just tried to play more aggressive again and go for my shots, but with a bit more margin, so it was a bit more consistent, and I think that's why I won in the end.
Now, we watched the progress all the way through, and we were talking about it before as well, and it's amazing that you haven't met a junior or senior level before, so there was quite a bit of attention to the build-up, I suppose.
Absolutely. You know, I'm sure we're going to play each other a fair few times in the future, and we're friends and we're playing doubles together later, so it was always going to be a tough match, and I'm really happy to get through it, but I'm also really looking forward to doubles later today.
Yeah, how difficult is that when you play against each other and then you have to team up? I mean, do you just put that behind you?
I think it happens all the time on tour, so you've got to deal with it and deal with it the best you can, and I'm sure Heather and I are going to play well together and we're going to have some happy faces on court.
Well, I'm sure you will do. I mean, as far as your progression this year has been concerned, you've had a few injuries, haven't you? It hasn't been all plain sailing for you.
Yeah, the start of the year was really tough. I was injured a lot and it took me out for a few months, so when I came back I just did a lot of training, and after Wimbledon I've done more tournaments and I've done pretty well in all of those tournaments, so this is my last tournament of the year, and then I'm looking forward to 2 weeks off and then starting a big long training block after that.
Now, obviously you first came to prominence to the wider public in 2008 when you won the girls' title at Wimbledon. How have you dealt with the pressure since then? Because there's been a lot of spotlight focused on you, hasn't there? Yeah,
definitely quite a big spotlight. You know, you don't usually get Sky Sports News filming your second round match at a challenger, so it's a bit weird to have all this, but it's something that happens all the time, so I deal with it pretty well, I think, and you know, I'm looking forward to improving in the future, and more media attention will come along with that, I think.
And obviously, you know, when you're playing in the Grand Slams, you're playing at Wimbledon especially, there is a lot of focus on you once again, but you have to get on with life away from it on the tour that we're obviously showing today. It's a little bit of a sort of a world away from the Grand Slams, no ball girls, no ball boys for you, you have to do it yourself.
That's what I'm used to though, I'm used to having no ball girls, so it's always nice at a Grand Slam when I've got, you know, 5 or 6 umpires on the court and ball kids, but I'm definitely used to not having that, so today was just normal for me and I quite like it. It gives me more time in between the points, and I think it gives me more time to refocus after, you know, a bad mistake or something like that.
As far as your progression is concerned, and also the progression of Heather as well, she was the number 2 seed in this tournament, so it's good for you as far as advancing in this tournament, but how far do you think both of you can go in the women's game?
I mean, it's definitely hard to say now. Heather has improved so much over the last year and a half. She's a really consistent player and I'm sure she can improve a lot more. And you know, I think we're both going to just work as hard as we can and see where that takes us. But I definitely don't want to put any numbers or any more expectations on it, because, you know, that's just going to add pressure. And I think both of us, as long as we work hard, we can do really well.
Now, earlier on, we were showing some of the live action here on Sky Sports News, and we were listening out for the levels as far as the decibels were concerned, because grunting once again is in the spotlight, it's in the headlines. Caroline Wozniacki has been saying that she thinks that some players do it deliberately. What's your experience of it, especially having faced Maria Sharapova in the past?
Well, both Heather and I have played Sharapova at Grand Slams, and there's always been a big thing about grunting, but after Wimbledon I said that I hardly noticed it on court, and I think Heather said the same after she played her at the US Open. So as a player, I think it's something that you don't really notice on court, because you're trying to focus on yourself and on the match that you're playing. But I'm sure as a spectator it's more noticeable, so you know, I wouldn't know how to comment on that, because I don't usually watch as a spectator.
Yeah, no, sure, and Heather did very, very well against Sharapova earlier on at the US Open, wasn't it? Having taken a set off her. But as far as the grunting is concerned, obviously you don't want too much attention on that side of the game, but you can understand why some people are put off by the excess noise levels, can't you?
I can understand, but I think that's part of the game. If you look at the men's and the women's side, you know, more than 50% of the players at least do it, and so I think it's just something that you've got to accept. Tennis is a great sport, and I don't think grunting is something that you should be put off by.
Well, Laura, thank you very much for speaking to us. Good luck with the doubles, and good luck with your onward passage as far as the singles are concerned. Well done.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from the prize fighter who claims to be a better fighter and singer than Manny Pacquiao.